Okay, we are here with FOKKE BRINK in this post-interview masterclass. We just had a masterclass with him, and in which I attend, and I had the pleasure to listen to the very amazing and interesting information he gave us during the masterclass. And now in this post-masterclass interview, I would like to have some, or bring some other questions to go a bit more deeper inside. And so, welcome, FOKKE.
Thank you.
Nice to have you here. And so I will start with these questions and also with a feedback that I want to bring you. And it's when you're in the first, you start to design the kanji, the first kanji, you made a sort of ritual of connection in which you connect with the brush and then with the universe, and then you start to stroke, no? And my feeling was really, I felt a very strong energy when you made the first stroke, and it came some things, you know, and it was something subtle, very, but it's like I could touch it. It was not like see someone that just designed some things, but it was something that arrived in a very direct way. I wanted to ask you if you have this kind of experience also in other master classes that people felt during you was designed the kanji, that they felt like an energy came.
You mean in the normal classes, not on the Zoom?
Yes, in the normal classes, yes.
In the normal classes, it's different. Because depends, when I start doing it, then we have already had the process. Before I start showing the strokes of the kanji. Because we first I start with a lot of explaining about the brush, about the ink stone, the ink stick, the rice paper, and then they start grinding their ink. I explain about shakyo, the sacred painting, how you prepare in Japan, what you do. And then they start grinding their ink. After they grind their ink, grind their ink, and then they make one line, the mochi ball, the lifeline, where they can see how present they are, and there's a reflection of your whole life at that moment. So that means that there is a building up of energy. When they have made that one line, I explained that the kanji has a lot of lines, and every line has its energy and his story. And then I start first to make it, and that moment I connect with when I have done it now. And at that moment, there is already a whole building up of an energy field in the class. And that goes on through the whole class to this for the first degree could be present with this part, but then with the second degree, only second degree and masters are there. Then it gets more intensive. And the last part, only with the masters, mostly before I make the master symbol, I chant the Dharani, the Komyo Dharani, which means to invite the light to come in me, the light of the stars, the moon, the animals, the planets, the light of the universe. And then I bow, I honor the energy above me. And then when I return, it's called, I return in the Buddha energy. And at that moment, there is a total different situation. So when I connect, because I know this process, when I started today, I connect internally to this process. So, and probably that's what you feel. And I did it once, I believe in Denmark, in the Reiki Alliance conference. And there was Master from Tekata, Rick Bochner. And after I did this, he looked at me, he said, now we can work together. I understand this. So it means there is tuning into a different energy field. However, I don't like to separate energy field because it's one, but I'm coming with my being into a different energy field where I am not doing this, but as I call it, I'm following the traces of ink. Mm-hmm. So my brush is held by the universe. I'm like a brush held by the universe, and I follow the traces of ink. So I cannot make a kami, a god energy like kanji, like Reiki. That I cannot make that. That is made through me. And probably you have felt this whole concept that is a part of me as a life. Mm. Maybe let's say something.
Yes, it was very strong, and I was very surprised because it was something unexpected. You know, I was watching a masterclass, and suddenly it came this feeling, you know. I felt this connection with what you was doing. Yes, maybe this is right.
You've got one point for connection, that is that I touched the paper.
Yes. And can we say that actually you embody the kanji? It's not just something external that you draw, but it's something that you embody. So it's like you bring yourself in the kanji when you design.
I can tell you a story.
Go.
Because the symbol workshops didn't just drop out of the air, of course. But it was a whole process that I met my teacher, Edo Tai Shimano Roshi, in America. No, it was before. In 1988, 1989, we had the Reiki Alliance conference in Hawaii from the Reiki Alliance. And I introduced there the information that I had in that time. Of course, different than I speak now. And they were very excited. Then the next year we were in Friesland, in Holland, on an island with the Reiki Alliance. And somebody asked me, could you share that again? And I didn't want it because I came out of a Tantra workshop, a training, and I was used to nice things, and there were all these in jeans and serious Reiki masters, and I didn't want to say anything. But the colleague said, yeah, but I have some friends from New York, and please share. I said, okay. We sit in the bar at a table, and I tell something, but I have nothing with me. Just do that. 1 hour later, she said, I put a paper on the wall that maybe others are interested to listen. I said, I don't want this. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so okay. Then at the end, from the 90 masters, 75 came to a room where I should speak about symbols. And I walked there, and I got, I don't know, I got shocked. I got somewhere pissed off of the whole stuff. And I stopped at the door. I said, I don't do it. And I turned around. And behind me was standing a master from Takata, Fren Beram, one of my most favorite masters. And she took my hand. She said, listen, Phyllis never was interested in the form or this from the symbols. You have to do that. And I sit beside you, I hold your hand, and you do it. Yeah, well, if an old master, good friend says that, what do you do? So I went in. I was speaking to 75 masters. I believe 3/4 of them were sitting at the end with tears in their eyes. And my girlfriend in that time, she was sitting there, and somebody said to her, Fokke knows a lot about it. Eh? And then her answer was, yes, and he lives it. Mm. And that is, I believe, what the power is, that I can speak about a living thing and not about a technical whatever. It is not a system, it is not a thing, it is not a commodity, it is I speak about my life, and there are no limits. So I share 100% my life. And I believe that is the power of this kind of workshops that I do.
Yes, I can completely confirm it. And this is what I also said before the masterclass, before the interview to you, that you bring life experiences, and life experiences, they has a different value than technical explanations. That yes, maybe they are maybe important too, I don't know, but for sure I think the experience of life that is connected with Reiki and what he brings you as insights, they are very, very important. And so my next question is maybe a bit in this direction. You said in that moment I had different information than now, because it means you had an evolution in Reiki,
Sure.
You gather experiences and also information. So what was the most significant change about the view of Reiki that you had in your past? The one, that you say, okay, I thought it's this, but now I can say, watch, it's something completely different. I would be very curious to understand and to know what it is.
It's a dirty question. I mean, I live, things happen, and I go on. And I have, of course, a lot of moments where things have changed, a lot of them. But I not even will be able to recall them all. Because I mean, I had in the second degree workshop, somebody who asked me a question which I had already for years in my mind, but never asked it. And she asked it. And I just said, well, I don't know. And well, Phyllis told me blah, blah, blah. And I will think about it. Then I went to my room. I opened the book from Master Goy, from the Peace Pole movement. And there was the answer. And it changed a tremendous lot of my view on the symbols, at least on one of them. And I have had other moments. I have taught now for 30 years in Russia. I can promise you that every time when I was there, something happened that forced me to go deeper in my life with Reiki. Experiences. I mean, imagine the price was raised in the start in the 90s, 92, I think. And there comes a woman in your workshop and she stands there and she said, "Fokke, I have it. And I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "I heard you, the price was raised and I saved the whole year I saved all my money for this workshop. So I had it, but then I didn't have enough. So I went on the street and I begged for it. And now I have it. I still get goosebumps when I think about this moment."
Yes, I believe you.
Or a woman who comes with an apple in the workshop, beautifully polished, in the start of the 90s in Moscow, where you couldn't get anything. These moments, they are much more important to me than many things that so-called important masters will tell me. This is real life. Or standing in the forest, burning the symbols after the workshop, suddenly you're surrounded by machine guns from the police. Or a master meeting in a park in Moscow, 3 police cars around, 2 of my masters arrested because they didn't have the right visa or whatever. And then they came back and one had nice clothes on like a businessman. He paid 3 times more than the other who looked a bit shabby. You know, these are all moments that deepen the understanding of Reiki and what happens. And when you made mistakes, I mean, before a workshop, I always had the joke that put off your rings and your bracelets because you don't need more than your empty hands with the initiation. So, but if your ring you cannot get off, then don't come with 9 fingers, but with 10 fingers in one ring. Well, halfway the initiations of 50 students, a man comes in and sits there with 9 fingers. You know what goes on in me at that moment? I never said that again. All these little things. And there are thousands of it because I have more than 10,000 students in the world and they have all got initiations and they got, and I, you know, every moment is a life step in Reiki. You can't, I don't like to say this is more important than that. Because my meeting with Kazuaki Tanahashi in Venice 6 years ago was very important. But was it more important than that with the woman, with the man? No, different. That Edo Rossi said, I'm the only student he ever has taught calligraphy because he wants to know one. Is that more important than you have 2 boys who came 4 days by train to do the first degree and they were not on the list? Can you send them away? A moment of Reiki. And I had reconnection days where people first degree have to explain, to tell why they want second degree. Why now and why from me? And there came 60, 70 people and I had only 25 places. And then I had the feeling with one, he said, no, it's not your time. Use your money for something else at the moment, for the family. And then I come outside and he sits on his knees in the mud on the street. Please, please, please give me second degree. At that moment to say no. And then my translator said, you're right to say no, because he borrowed the money from his mother and the family has no food. This kind of things, and I have hundreds of these stories. This is what changed being a master, like, oh, you are the master, or being a master. Yeah. So yeah, it's different. That is, and I have no fixed points. The talk with you when we met is a moment of going deeper. This with the workshop now, the questions that came, very nice, about things I never thought about that here, was that here, is that why are there only 2 people? Maria said, yeah, of course, man and woman. Yeah, but one is all people. It can be 1,000 people. I never thought about it. So it was, again, a moment of accumulating content of this kanji. Stop.
No. Go on. It's interesting, yes, because this was a bit the sense of the questions, you know, and you answered it very. Maybe someone would expect that you choose some things in special that changed, but I think what you said, it's even more deeper, because your answer, I don't know, I won't interpret it, then maybe you can say it's wrong or not. Your answer is that Reiki manifests itself not in the common ways that you expect, but exactly exactly the point that maybe you are not expect that it is, you know, but it always brings you insights that can make you change the view.
Expectations doesn't work. I mean, it happens. You know, when I studied in Japan, the traditional Japanese arts, it was, well, we had a lot of things. And at the end, we didn't have an examination, but we had to offer what we learned to the gods. Mm-hmm. In the huge temple there in the Bansho-den was the second biggest tatami hall in Japan. And the whole village was there, television and the major and whatever. Everybody was there. Tea ceremony we did, no drama. And then I got the honor to chant this Komyoda Rani on the altar during the service. Magnificent moment, which is an expression of Reiki to me. I was sitting in the tea ceremony. What never happens, they came and took me out and said, we have, and that's the famous Omoto healing system that they used on at the Marines in the Navy in Japan before they used Reiki. And then they said, we have a healing session with a family. You are a Reiki master, please, would you like to join? Magnificent moment. But at that moment, I enjoyed that. But it is not of a higher other value than any other moment that I had with Reiki. So, and when you have expectations, you project something in a result. And I don't have that anymore because Reiki is guiding me. And yeah, and if I have a shit day, then I have a shit day and I have to see what I learned from it. I have pain in my foot, then okay, what do I do? And how do I deal with it? It's all Reiki. I sit in the airplane back from, from Russia, I believe. At the last moment, the woman comes in, sits beside me. I look at her, oh no, I came from Italy, from a master training with a friend, yes. And she sits beside me, and I said, well, you had a rough day. What do you mean? So from shut up, you. And then, okay, take off. And then later she said, who are you? I said, well, I just came from a master training from a colleague and I'm just sensitive for these things. So you must have had a very hard day. And I thought, well, you can relax, you can put your hands, and I use my hands for that, with healing. And then she said, my God, that I have to sit beside someone like that. Magazine. Mm-hmm. 10 minutes later, magazine went, looked at me, put her hand on my hand and fell, looked at me, put her hand on my shoulder and started sharing that she, for the first time in 35 years that she was married, she had a lover in Rome and now she went home and didn't know what to do and blah, blah, blah. And she told the whole story. In Düsseldorf, I had to change planes to Switzerland. She went out. And we just hugged each other and we not even knew each other's name or whatever. This to me is living Reiki. Sitting in the metro in Russia in the morning, all these people, you look at somebody, you smile, you feel that. They smile back. That's Reiki. It's not putting your hands on, just, it is being there totally. And that's, I mean, most of the Reiki people, they do Reiki, they want to have a little room, nice table, candles, some had a lot of crystals or whatever they put around. But is that Reiki? Yes. You know what also Reiki is? I know several police officers who are Reiki masters. How do you deal on the street with when you arrest somebody? I know a Reiki master who's a prostitute. How do you deal with your clients? I know Reiki masters who are in the most difficult situations. I know one in Kenya. He sees his people from his tribe slaughtered on the street. How do you deal with Reiki? You know, we are so used to make it a kind of, how can I say, high level, exotic discipline, but that's not. That is, for me, that doesn't fit to what Reiki really is. Reiki is when Ikechukum sees that his people there are slaughtered by the soldiers with big knives on the street. And he said, please help me, because I don't know what to do. Where is my Reiki community? He's a Reiki master. What do you do? Go now here on the borders where Lukashenko is bringing the fugitives, the people there. I honored my granddaughter who goes to these camps and who makes like a clown and plays music to help the people. But what do we do with Reiki? We sit, we say, oh, I send Reiki on distance. Yeah, I sit here. I don't go. No, of course not. So, to me, Reiki is in action in our lives. And what do we do? And I don't blame anybody who sits in his home and does that. But I believe we have to think about what it really is.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree with you. Especially the last part, it's in resonance with my feeling and my living Reiki. And now you touch a part, it's maybe not very related to the masterclass, but
that's okay.
Now we have a lot of practitioners of Reiki that they always fight, about what was the original Reiki and what is not original Reiki. And this is not the original technique, and this it's not the original way to do Reiki. And you bring a kind of Reiki that is completely universal, free. It means Reiki can be everywhere, in every situation, and it can manifest itself in every time and without any limits. So not anymore a structured method with guidelines, but some things that you have to embody and then live out. What do you think about these discussions?
But wait a moment, you are right, but you missed the whole process to that point. Because all this structure, all these disciplines, all the teaching that we do, creates the possibility to arrive to that point. Mm-hmm. And you say, it looks, correct me if I'm wrong, that it is already free and all, and so yes, you can embody it after you have learned it. And there are people who have it from nature. True. I can tell you stories. But, it means that we need a structure first to release the structure and to become it. Mm. So the structure is absolutely not needed, and it is needed.
It's necessary, but not needed.
Exactly. So how do we learn it if we don't start with a structure? Mm-hmm. So we have to find out, okay, my hands do something. Did I try that out before I was initiated? No. How do you know after you initiated it's that? You don't know. Maybe you had it before, but you never checked it. So, but then you start believing in it. You start trusting it. So your system start adjusting to the nature that you already had. And that is stabilizing. That gets more solid, more strong, more trustful. And then when you come to the end, you know that this structure was only needed to find your true nature again. Mm-hmm. So if you are already enlightened at the start or totally in harmony with your true nature, you don't need it at all. And I believe when you really see this kanji, and you realize that the universe is in harmony with your personal key, and you really can live that and believe it, you don't need any initiation. You know what somebody in our discipline, in the high level once said? Maybe Reiki is just an expression of God's humor to keep us busy.
That's nice.
To find out that what we are in nature.
Yes.
And that's not what Master said. Reiki is everywhere. Reiki is all. And still they say you have a channel, whatever that is, and you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do that, but when it's everywhere, why do we do it?
Good question.
Yes, so to realize that it is everywhere, it takes steps.
Yes, the process is important, no?
Yes.
The process of maturity. It's like you put a seed in the earth and then you start the process that will bring one day maybe a fruit. And it's not very important the time that you need to get to this fruit, but the process that guide you to this moment that the fruit is mature and you can take it.
And the nourishment and the art, how you care for it.
Sure, this is very important too, because if you don't care about the seed, maybe it will never bring a fruit.
So that's the system.
Yes, yes. And you know, for example, returning to this, everybody want to cure his garden and think his garden is the most beautiful or the best.
Sure, it's true.
Forgetting that we all are putting our flowers in the same earth. So what changes maybe the relation that we have with these flowers, you know, like you said, it depends how much you go deep inside and how much you cure Reiki. And I want to now go to the last questions. You are a very experienced Reiki master. You had a lot of life experience, and you really have the opportunity to go deep inside. You live Reiki. It's not just teaching Reiki, no? Teaching, I think it's a side effect of your living Reiki.
Teaching is easy. Do something stupid and everybody can learn from it.
Yeah, exactly. This I want to say. It's something that comes natural, you know? And so I want to make you these last questions, and is there an insight that you will let to maybe people will watch this video or the people that was attending the masterclass, that you want to give them to bring with them in their path to the understanding of what is Reiki? So a hint, you know, a small hint that you can say, well, do this.
Well, it's a difficult thing, because there were around 40 people. Everyone has a different life.
Yes, sure.
Everyone has a different starting point, has a different way, different surrounding, different family, and so on. So just a general statement is difficult. So what I think is important is follow your true feelings. And even if other people say it's not true and whatever, and you are convinced that your truth, then look at it, evaluate it, and see if it's really your truth. And then where your truth meets my truth, we call it the truth. And then you and just live it then. And don't worry about what other people think, because they think out of their own concept. And that doesn't fit yours. And so is Reiki. Don't stare to the rules. So this is this, that is that, and sure, and it has to be this. And I mean, it's good to start with, but as soon as you can, feel what it means to you. And when you follow your true feeling, then I believe it's your original one, your traditional one, and that's okay, because there is no traditional Reiki system or whatever. There is no, because what did Usui? He found something on a mountain. He didn't know what it was. He lived only 4 years with it. So we had to find out before it became to a kind of form of system. Must have been at the end of his life, or maximum halfway. Then what is the original system? There was no system. There was something that this man lived and did. Then one of his last student, Shudhiro Hayashi, started to experiment with it also. He found ways, he did things, and we think, oh, that is the Holy Grail. Because what Hayashi said is true. Well, I don't know. And then he passed on things to a woman out of Hawaii, to Takata. Well, she had her own interpretations. She had her own forms. She changed a lot. She changed the way of the system. She changed the name. She changed the money situation. She changed a lot. And that is for a specific group where I was born as a Reiki master, the Holy Grail, because what she said was true. Well, then Phyllis took over. She did her way. And so there is no, that is the original truth. Everyone has its own original truth based on what you understand. And even if we all hear the same story from somebody, we all have our own story at the end. So, I mean, I made that mistake that I was a fanatic, but this is the original, I'm the 5th generation, blah, 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 yeah. When I look back, then I think, uh-oh. And now, I think if somebody can help other people to get shiny eyes again, feeling happy in life, trusting themselves, whatever you call it, to me is Reiki. And it's beautiful. Are these wise words?
Very much.
Oh, bravo.
Bravo. Really, it was a very interesting interview. I thank you very much to share this time with me and to share your experience. And I will be very happy to share this video and this interview with people.
I hope I get it too.
Yes, for sure, you will get it.
You
will be the first that get it. As soon as I have it, I will give it to you.
And thank you so much for the initiative to make this happen, because I had to step over quite some borders, and I did it for the first time with the Reiki Association in England. Mm-hmm. Well, I intended to stop doing it, but I think I found a way, like I did today, that serves me and the people. So,
yes,
I'm not done with it.
I'm happy that you could understand that this camera, this way, is just another channel to communicate some things. It's not important, you know. It's important what you're giving to people. And it arrives. It arrives. Believe me. If I want, I can copy paste what the student said. It means something arrives. You know. This is maybe more mentally feeling that you say, okay, in the camera, but it's not like this. It's like when you watch movies or when you watch a documentary.
No, that's not. But I'm used to a different way of being with people. I mean, I cannot let you experience things that I can let you experience with the brush in person.
This is normal. This is, I can completely understand it. Yes.
And that is my border when I love that experience.
Yes.
And that is what I can miss here, but I see also the value out of the feedback that I get from these 3 times that I gave this talk now.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that it, for a lot of people, helps them a lot with the Reiki kanji and the Reiki symbol and Reiki itself.
Yes.
And I have to find my balance in it. And you are one of the people who helped me to do that, and I'm very grateful for that. And hope that we will meet again about it.
Yes, and as you said, maybe Reiki in this moment is showing this, that this can be also a way. And I'm happy if I could be part of it. I'm very happy because you have a lot to say. So, you know, and maybe not everybody can attend your classes. Not everybody can come to Greece. Not everybody has the opportunity. No. And this is a way, anyway, to have a contact with you, to know you, to listen to you, to see. And I never did online classes before COVID. I just make in live. But then I work out on it. I offered lessons, and then I said, okay, in this moment, maybe I can bring something to people that are depressed and they don't feel good and they don't practice anymore, to bring them anyway some practice, some insights, and it worked. And you see, we are here, we are talking, and we did a great masterclass. So
yes, you are right. But I have still the feeling I can talk a lot about love, but I want to have a very nice feeling. I need somebody close.
Yes, it's like this. It's completely and for sure another kind of experience, be live. And I wish I can attend one live class with you.
I hope.
And maybe you can come to Italy, or who knows, maybe I come to Greece, and it will be really a big honor for me.
You have a lot of connections. Maybe there's a little group of 5 or 8 people who said, well, we like to join you and we make a holiday trip to Greece.
Yes.
But the Russians often did. They had then 1 week here, and then they had a week in Athens or in Olympia or somewhere else. And they made a holiday week from it, inclusive with this teaching here.
Yes.
And we can do a lot more than only that.
Yes.
Mask workshops. We have so many things.
I was thinking about it.
Yes, I would love to receive you here.
Yes, thank you. Well, FOKKE, thank you very much for everything, for the masterclass and for this interview, and wish you to have you soon again in a workshop or in a masterclass. Thank you.
Okay, we talk about it.
Thank you.
Keep contact, my friend.
Have a good time. Ciao.
See you. Thank you. Ciao.